Alright, what's up guys? Welcome for another live episode. Today I'm going to be covering nutrition staples with you. But we're going to wait a little bit, let some people join in, get going, and we will kick it off. So give it about 1 or 2 more minutes and we'll get going. Here we go. Alright, let me just make sure we've got the chat going here. So we did this last time real quick. We see you got people joining in, so just throw in the chat box where you're at. And Thomas, welcome back. Let's see. Colorado, all right, Sam. I'm in Colorado as well. Best state ever. It's amazing out here. Oh, so yeah. Today we're going to be going. I'm going to be going over nutrition with you now. A couple things. We're just going to talk a little bit ahead of all. Glenn, welcome from California. Jeremy, how you doing, man? So nutrition is obviously a very complex topic. Okay, there's a lot to cover, and again, my channel is focused on one thing, and that is getting you results and getting you closer to action. And a lot of guys would probably think, oh yeah, that's what I want, that sounds great, but you'd be surprised how many guys that's not what they want. They want information and secret tips and tricks because it kicks off the dopamine receptors and they feel better because they learned something, but they're not actually doing anything. So I don't always talk about what guys want to quote unquote hear. I talk about what they need to hear, because I'm here to help them become the best versions of themselves and turn their body around and transformation with the least time possible. And sometimes that requires me to just tell it like it is. And I'm not here to necessarily make friends. I'm here to help make men stronger. So with that, cool, we got Scott in Ohio. Welcome guys, let's go ahead and get started. So nutrition, you may have heard, abs are made in the kitchen. 80% of results come from your diet or your food intake, and all of this has a very common thread in the sense that what you put into your body is the biggest impact in the shape of how it looks, as far as aesthetically, building muscle, and then also the energy that you have. And you can be training until you're blue in the face, but if you are putting the wrong food in your body, like, you're going to see minimal to no results. So it's very important that you really get awareness of what's going into your body. And the biggest thing is, one thing is that the way I teach is I actually teach to start training in the gym first, because that's an easier task to do, and it doesn't take as much motivation to get started and start seeing some results. But the nutrition is where it can get tricky. Okay, so what I'm going to cover with you is kind of teaching you how to fish instead of saying here's the fish to eat, because this is going to sustain you and last you in the long run, versus just saying, oh, eat this food or eat that food. So we're going to go over the 3 staples. Okay. And these 3 staples are going to cover 80% of getting you results with nutrition if you are consistent, okay? So that is the big thing, actually the biggest thing is being consistent. This does no good if you do it for 1 week or a couple days or 2 weeks and you don't follow it. That's why we're making small lifetime changes, okay? So I'm not a big fan of radically changing your diet and changing everything you eat and everything you do, because it's not going to last, okay? That's like a car that's driving down the highway at 60 miles per hour and then deciding that they want to make a U-turn, okay, and head this way. And what they're going to do is flip and burn out and crash. It doesn't work. Instead, you got to slow down, get off the exit ramp, come over, and then slowly get on the on-ramp, and then you're on a sustainable path of change for the rest of your life, okay? So we have to approach it different. And so by learning these 3 things, that's going to get you 80% of the results that you need for changing, for building muscle, okay? Again, but you have to be consistent. So some of these, if you've watched my videos, you're going to be familiar with them, but there's a reason why I keep telling you the same thing over and over again, because it works, and that's all you need to focus on. So the first is water, okay? And by water, I mean you need 1 gallon of water a day, or which I think comes out to about 3.78 liters for my metric friends, okay? And this is, man, it's one of those things that it's like, you already know, I don't have to tell you, like, oh, drinking water is good for you, okay? Everybody already knows that. But you have to ask yourself, like, in the last 7 days, have I been drinking a gallon or 3.78 liters of water a day? And so that leads to the second kind of question. I'm going to piggyback between both of these, which is measurement. Actually, measurement is probably going to be the first one, but if you don't measure it, it doesn't count. Okay, so thinking I drank a lot of water, I drank lots of water, lots of H2O, does not equal drinking 1 gallon. Okay? If you didn't measure it, it doesn't count. And so let's just break it down. Like, okay, well, how do I measure it? Well, it's very simple. Like, here's what I do. It's all about setting up, hot gates, which I teach in a Spartan Rises, which you can get at spartanrises.com. But I drink, I have a water cooler downstairs, and I fill it. I have these protein shaker bottles, and they have the right on the side here. You can see kind of. Anyways, there's a measurement right here, so it's 20 ounces. Okay. So every time I drink one of those, I have the Apple Watch, and you don't need the Apple Watch, but you can have your smartphone. I open my app, I click that I drank it, and it's 20 ounces, and I go down, refill, and repeat the process, and that's measuring. So I know specifically how much I drank or didn't drink in the last 7 days. If you can't prove to a jury that, hey, or just prove to your friend, yes, I drank a gallon of water by showing some type of tracking mechanism, then it didn't happen. And you're kidding yourself. And the guys who are like, well, I drink a lot of water, like, what's the next tip? Where's the next thing? It's like, no, man, slow down, measure this, and track it for a week. Like, actually record it, because that's when success starts to happen, when you slow down and master the fundamentals. Okay, so in terms of, all right, well, great, a gallon of water. Well, it does so many things for your body as far as cleaning it out, helping your body build muscle, helping your body burn fat, gives you way more energy, helps you think clearer. Like, it's a huge, huge difference. And again, like, there's another concept. This concept here is called the Spartan 7. I have other videos on that, so I'm not going to get into that here. But as far as the gallon or 3.78 liters of water goes, you may think, wow, I don't want to do that for the rest of my life, or that sounds like a lot. Well, that's too much. You're thinking too far out, okay? You just need to think about the current Spartan 7 or the current week that you are in. And so it's like, do a test. Again, this is why I'm teaching you how to fish and giving you the process. Don't believe me? I don't care. Try it for 7 days. And then at the end of the 7 days, if you measured that you drank that amount of water each time, then see how you feel. Do you feel better? Did the scale move, etc. and so forth? Because that's going to be the ultimate decision and validation or invalidation of if it's healthy for you or if it works for you, is you trying it from yourself. It does you no good to watch 50 million videos and not do anything about it. And the other thing about, so obviously the water has huge benefits as far as the positive impact it has on our body. The other thing is it forces, by focusing on drinking a gallon of water a day, that's going to cut out a lot of bad things. So it's going to cut out soda, it's going to cut out some cravings, and really soda and sugar drinks. You know, diet soda, that's just poison. And so that now you have a double benefit, because A, it's helping the body as far as the water we need for the internal processes to be streamlined, but B, it's blocking and stopping you from incorporating bad habits of drinking soda or alcohol or whatnot. So that's step one, okay, is consistently drinking a gallon of water a day. And look, man, like, I don't do this all the time. You know, there's some days I track and I review, it's like, oh, I only got 60 or 80 or 40. It happens. So it's not about beating yourself up, but when I do have a week that I'm fully on, I totally notice a difference in terms of my energy, my performance, and just how I feel my training is progressing. Okay, and so that's one and two. Like, measurement again is the big thing, which I'll talk a little bit more on that in a second here. But let me give you the third. And the third is 1 to 1.5 grams of protein. Let's write this out here. Protein per pound of body weight, or 1 to 1.5 grams of protein for every 2.2 kilos. Okay, and this is a day. Okay, so I weigh 180 pounds. So I should be getting, you know, anywhere from 180 to 270 grams of protein a day. Okay, and when you stop for a minute and just focus on doing this, it clears out so many other questions, because it starts you down a path. Okay, how do I eat 180 grams of protein a day? Well, you got to start looking up and looking at different foods, protein, chicken, steak, eggs, etc. and so forth, and counting, surprise, measuring how much protein is in the food that you're eating. Protein shakes, etc. and so forth. Says if you don't measure it, then it doesn't count. Okay, that is I can't tell you how true that is. If you aren't measuring, it doesn't count. Oh, did I do it backwards? Well, maybe it's okay. I don't know. I don't think it is. Oh, I'll check that later. But if you're not measuring, so when you are measuring, now you start down the path of, okay, well, how can I get this amount in per day? Okay, and you start looking at what you're eating and adding it up and counting it, and that's, you know, the second part of part 2, which is counting calories. Okay, because counting calories is how you measure how much food and energy you're putting into your body, and if you aren't counting calories, then you know you don't know how much you're eating and what the impact is on your body. So yeah, I'll get to questions at the end, guys. We're almost here, but counting calories. So here's the thing. Again, here's the like overall process that I followed that really helped me get ripped. And you don't have to do this for the rest of your life, but you do have to do it for maybe a month or 2 months. And that is, at the beginning of the week here, you weigh yourself, okay? And then every day you track and count your calories for how much you ate, okay? And with the advent of you know, smartphones and using those, it's super, super easy. Like, I use My Pal Fitness. It has a huge database of foods, easy to do. And I have a couple other videos on how to count your calories easily, so you can go watch those. But you do that for 7 days, and then on the next Monday, same thing, weigh yourself and see what happened. Okay, so if you're trying to lose weight, lose fat, okay, depending on how much you have, anywhere from half a pound to 2 to 3 pounds a week is a safe number to lose. So let's say you started out, you were 200 pounds on week 1, okay, and then each day you ate 2,500 calories. Okay, now the breakdown of that as far as fat, protein, and carbs has an impact, but it's too much to go into for this particular show. But so you tracked it and you ate approximately 2,500 calories each day. You did your normal gym routine, so Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and let's say you did some cardio Tuesday and Thursday, okay? So now we're starting to fill in the variables and seeing exactly what you did. So at the end of this week, week 2, you look and you see, hey, 187. Okay, so wow, I lost 2 pounds. So that means what you just did here is working. So in week 2, I would do the same thing and see, do you still continue to go down a little bit? Eventually you'll have to lower the calories, but that's a good drop. Now let's say week 2, it was still 200, okay? Well, you measured everything, you see, wow, okay, I exercised, I know the exact quantity of food that I ate, how much, why I didn't lose any weight. Okay, so that means for week 2, I'm going to drop it 250 calories. So I'll do 250. All right, so 2250. Okay, and then you go that for week 2, and then at week 3 you come back and see, okay, where am I at? Am I down 188, 187? Am I still at 200? Am I going up? And you see how it's a self-correcting process. So you may not hit it right out of the gate in the beginning, but eventually, if you are consistent, there is no way you will not get to where you want to go, okay? And that's why this process is so powerful, because it makes it impossible to not get, to not build muscle, not burn fat, and not get the body that you want. The question is, it comes down to a matter of time, okay? And it is going to take time. Time and again consistency, because the less consistent you are, like let's say you don't track this day, you don't track this day, you're not tracking how much you're lifting, well now we have a lot more variables and we don't know why you didn't lose weight. Maybe it's because these days you ate more food, maybe you ate less, maybe you didn't train as hard. Like we don't quantitatively know what happened, so you're not able to look back and say, oh, here's what I need to fix. And don't get me wrong too, it takes time to get to the point where you are consistently doing all this, right? Depending on where you are in your training journey. If you haven't consistently been going to the gym, you haven't been tracking your food before, this is a lot. And in the illustration of the car turnaround, don't expect to do it all in 1 week. Like just start with pick one thing. So maybe it's, okay, I'm just gonna track my calories for the week. That's the first thing. Or maybe it's, I'm gonna do the gallon of water a day for the week. That is the simplest way to get started and to get you to where you want to go. So then you're like, okay, well, what about like, what particular foods, this and that? Not as important. I'll do other episodes on those. Definitely has an impact, but this is the first thing you have to have down. Because if you're not doing this, it doesn't matter what I tell you to eat, because you're not being consistent and you haven't given yourself a successful framework for transforming your body, okay? So that's really, that's it. I mean, that's the 80% of the staples. Now, it's very easy, again, I don't want you to think this doesn't take work, because it's very easy to show this. It's a whole other thing to actually do it. And that's where it trips most guys up, is because they get bored or they're not able to stay consistent and they go watch some more information and they just confuse themselves and they never end up getting to where they want to go. Okay, so those are kind of the main staples. Let's see some of the questions that we've got here. Nope. All right, so Rancho wants to know if I should eat it every day. Yes, it's every day, okay? Every day, He's asking if I should eat it every day versus every day or the days I work out. No, don't. Like, see, that's an easy way of overcomplicating, and you hear guys say, oh, you need to eat this much on the days you work out and this much. No, you don't. If you track and you keep it consistent, again, you have to understand the more things you add for you to track and to do and pay attention, the more complexity you add, and it gets exponentially more likely that you will not accomplish what you're trying to accomplish. You have to keep it simple, okay? And that way you're not overloading yourself, okay? So bottle, Dan wants to know bottle or tap water. It doesn't matter, right? So whatever, whatever your preference is, it's more of, again, the bigger question is, are you drinking the gallon or the 3.78 liters a day, okay? So what are the easiest ways? Kevin wants to know the easiest ways to get protein besides relying on protein shakes. Yeah, that's a good question. And so the easiest way is, first of all, is kind of planning ahead, because it's all going to depend on your schedule and what your access is to food, and do you need to have food with you. So that's where you can start. I'll do some more videos on these later, but you can, you don't need me to tell you. You can Google high protein foods, good protein snacks, and you can find that information and start to use it. But off the top of my head, it's like, you can buy, especially a lot of pre-cooked stuff. Costco and grocery stores have a lot of chicken that's already cooked and cut, so you can have that in the fridge ready to go. Hard-boiled eggs, you can buy those now already hard-boiled and deshelled. I eat raw eggs because that's super easy, doesn't take a lot of time. Cottage cheese, yogurt, milk, tuna in a can. I mean, it's all day, every day. So you just Google high protein foods, and again, it depends on your schedule and your availability. If you're out on the road and stuff, you're gonna need a cooler. Maybe you need stuff more like beef jerky with lower sodium. Like, this is where it's individual, but you still are following the same process. Scott wants to know, anyone who has water absorption, any recommendations for people who have water absorption problems? Well, I would Google that. I don't have that problem. I don't have experience with it. And again, with my channel, like, I don't talk about things that I haven't done or have a direct experience with. So you're not the only person, Scott, who has that problem. So I would Google it and find what other sources say about it. Primer, Andy, what's up, stud? Wants to know if he can count coffee towards water goals. No, water is straight water, okay? So again, in the interest of keeping it simple, straight water, because now if you're tracking, okay, well, I drink orange juice and it's 30% water, la 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 la, see how much complexity we're already adding to it? So straight water, you can still drink. When I say a gallon of water a day, that doesn't mean you can't drink anything else. I drink tea. I drink high energy tea that I love called Zest tea, as you can get off Amazon. But you can drink coffee, you can drink tea, you can have, milk, maybe some orange juice. But just with coffee and tea, like, don't load it up with sugar. Like, sugar is a huge fat thing. Or if you do, just know that, okay, like, this particular thing is not helping towards me reach my fitness goal, but I enjoy it, and so maybe you do an extra rep in the gym or whatever. So again, it's not about making you feel guilty or bad. It's just knowing what's impacting you. Mr. Tabasco, do you feel more thirsty when you supplemented with creatine? Yeah, I mean, creatine, I don't know if, like, you don't ever want to feel thirsty, guys. When you're thirsty, that's your body saying you're already dehydrated. It's like too late. Not too late, you're not going to die, but you've already reached the point of dehydration. So you should always be drinking, and to make that happen, you have to always have water sitting in front of you. Again, you saw my cup. I have that sitting in front of me all the time. Maybe if you work in an office or something, you have a case of bottled water, or you have a case in the car, whatever. Like, you have to figure out what system works for you, but the goal is, how can I keep water in front of me at all times? And Andre, what's up, buddy? From Brazil, wants to know how to calculate how many calories per day. Yeah, that is a whole nother topic, but again, you don't need me to do, well, if you want my specific recommendation, you can get, Spartan Rises, or which includes the Nectar of Hercules, which is my food program, or if you've already got a training program, you can get the Nectar of Hercules, and I have some calculators that you can put stuff in there. However, you can also just go to Google and type in calorie calculators, and that will give you a starting point. Again, where you start doesn't matter so much as if you stay consistent with it, because you will ultimately end up at the right spot. Jeremy wants to know, are you using more of a simplified diet? So protein is chicken or eggs or steak, or are you counting every single gram in a packaged meal? Yeah, I mean protein, when I say protein, for now, just focus on every single gram of protein that you eat. Yes, some protein is better than others in the sense that like egg protein is far superior to plant protein for building muscle, but starting to get into the dangerous rabbit hole, not to say that doesn't matter down the road, it does, but if you're not doing this first, then that doesn't matter. So get this installed in your life first, and then you can look at those questions. Egg whites or whole eggs, up to you. I eat whole eggs, but that is a personal choice. Will pre-cooking tonsils? No, pre-cooking and pre-packaged meal at home help with the tracking? Yeah, I mean, if you have the time, a lot of guys, I don't do this anymore, but a lot of guys, like Sunday will be meal prep day, and so they cook all their food for the whole day. And that can be a very simplified way to do it, because you have your scale right there and you're making everything, and you know what the calorie count is of each meal. And there's also, this is where you can get creative, guys, like a new industry, an up and coming industry, depending on, you know, what your income is food delivery. Like a lot of local places have, you know, healthy food delivery. So if you're busy and you're struggling for time to make food, etc., like you can leverage other people's experience and buy pre-cooked meals for, you know, $7 to $10, and a lot of times it's healthy, fresh, and organic. So Freshly is one. Bodybuilding.com has some frozen ones. They're okay. I used to really like them, but they changed them, and now I'm not as big of a fan. Like, they don't taste as good, but you know, it's all right. And I have a couple. You know, I'm in Denver, and there's a couple local food deliveries services that I use. But that's, you know, now I don't do that, because now that I'm working and living from home, like I just go downstairs and cook, and boom, I'm ready to go. Yep, all foods. So protein from all foods in the beginning, okay? In the beginning, you count all foods. Now, as you will learn later down the road, like protein from pasta or wheat or, again, plant is not as effective for muscle building, because it doesn't have the right amino acids as steak and chicken and eggs. But overcomplicating it, like start with just tracking. Once you've tracked everything you've eaten for 3 weeks consistently, then you can start to look at some of those nuanced details. Fitness fanatic, what is my body fat percentage? I think right now I'm like 11-12%. Does it stay consistent? You know, it stays anywhere between, I'd say, 8 to 13, depending on kind of my life goals, what I'm working on, if I'm traveling and seeing friends and drinking. And I will say that it's just like anything else as far as getting kind of your ideal physique. Like, it's a lot of work to get there. It's like climbing this like big hill, but once you do, it's really easy to maintain. Okay, so this is like 80%, and then once you hit the apex, it's very easy to maintain, because A, a lot of the habits are in your system, and B, like your body's just used to being in shape. So even if you're drinking a lot, etc. and so forth, when you turn it off and get back to it, like it reforms very quickly. So Gary sounds like lactose intolerant. Any well-stacked protein shake? Okay, good question, Gary. I don't know, because I'm not lactose intolerant, but guess what? Like, there are tons of people who are, so hop on Amazon, hop on the internet, just type that in, see what other reviews, match that. Yeah, there we go. I wondered if somebody would notice. Ivan says, "Hail Ukraine." That is the shirt that I'm wearing, because I visited Ukraine with my good buddy Antonio Centeno of Real Men, Real Style. Let's see how we're doing on time. Okay, so we're 30 minutes in, just about, probably going to wrap up here soon. So if you have any more questions, throw those in. If you have topics that you want me to cover for the next live episode, put that in there as well. And what was I going to say? Oh yeah, I'm still trying to figure out the best time to do this, because I don't know. Yeah, I just don't know when the best time is for doing these live streams. But again, that's an example of like, guys, like, I don't know the best time yet, but I'm just doing these, and I'll figure it out based on when people show up and when they don't, and how I promote it. So Dickon wants to know, does it matter if the vitamins in the morning instead of after, if you take vitamins in the morning? Yeah, I mean, not really. I don't think so, man. I mean, that's again one of those little percentages, may matter 1%, but just take your vitamins. That's what matters most. Milk is fine, Andre, but everyone responds different to milk. I love milk. It doesn't have any negative impact on me. That's where this, you know, if you're not sure, you have milk for a week, don't have milk for a week, and just see what the impact is on your body, because everybody's different. Jean wants to know, what is the best way to get to 12% body fat? From Panama. Jean, the best way is to build muscle. So follow this to build muscle, because building muscle raises your metabolism, which burns more fat, and when you are eating correctly to build muscle, you will naturally build fat. So strength train, build muscle. You can add some high intensity. Google, you know, HIIT if you want to do cardio, but that's the best simple formula. All right, Thomas says this time is fine for me. But yeah, you know, Gene, maybe I'll do another video about supplements. So this one is more about the nutritional staples, so I'm not going to get into like specific vitamins. Glenn wants to know, does this apply to all age ranges? Yeah, I mean, the formula does, absolutely. Because this process, again, gives you a framework that you can tweak based on how your body responds. And so your body, based on your age, will respond differently, but the process is still the same. Gene says, thank you, you are welcome. Thanks for being here. And cool. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate you tuning in. Again, you know, be doing this every week, maybe twice a week once we start picking up and I'm finding the good times. But let me know what topics or questions you want covered. And from there, I will see you next week. So, hope that was helpful. Hope you learned a few things. And remember, never retreat, never surrender, and keep moving forward.